Hello and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast. As you might be able to tell from the background, Ron and I have moved. Yes, we moved on the weekend and today is Monday, so we're still settling in, to be honest. We don't even have internet yet. I'm actually hotspotting off my phone. The struggle is real. All this while both of us have been trying to recover from Canberra. It's been a big week, that's for sure. We're looking forward to some rest at some point. I don't know when. Episode 173 is another interview with Pam Muston. I've had Pam on the podcast before, way back in early 2020. She's a great friend of mine and an absolutely amazing athlete. Pam has been running since the early 80s, and in this chat we discuss how she has managed to run all this time without ever getting injured. Amazing, right? I reckon. At the end of the interview, she shares her 3 main tips to achieve such a streak, so make sure you stay tuned till the very end. We did this chat the day before the Sri Chinmoy 100K, where Pam ended up winning the 60 to 69 age group as the beginning of her training for Coast to Cozzy, and she was 4th female. And before you hear the chat from Ron and I with Pam, I have a quick update with Erchana Murray on how she's doing on her run from the tip to the toe of Australia. It's a good one too. I really love working on this podcast and interviewing so many interesting people like Pam and Erchana. I hope you enjoy listening. If you do, could you do me a huge favour and subscribe, rate and review? It makes a huge difference to me, not only personally, but also helps the podcast audience grow and thus ensures lots more athletes just like you can find it. Also, if you could have a try at downloading the episode rather than just streaming it live or streaming it, that then shows me how many listeners I've got, and I'd really love to know that data. The link is in the show note to subscribe, so get onto it, please. Are you sick and tired of being injured or running in pain? Ensure you're ready for racing in 2022 and come in and see the team at Health and High Performance. Love running again by heading to healthhp.com.au or find them on Instagram, Health High Performance. And there's still a few races in 2022 left. You don't want to miss out due to any niggles. Also, don't forget to check out Peak Chocolate for their great range that supports runners in a healthy but delicious lifestyle. I've been certainly using it to help me get through at the moment. Use the code Isabel Ross, all caps, to get a massive 15% off at checkout. As I always say, I use the same code. Enjoy the chat that Ron and I have with Pam and my little interview with Erchana. Hi, Erchana, and welcome back to the podcast.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm all right. How about you? That's what we want to do.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually really good. I'm sitting in a park, so sorry about the wind noise here in Innisfail because yeah, I am just finished day 31 today. So yeah,
Day 31. That's amazing. Of a marathon every day. I'm tired just thinking about it. So do the maths for me, because I haven't got my calculator handy.
Yeah, it's hovering around the 1300k mark. Yeah, so it would be in and around there. I'm not.
Oops, you've just dropped down.
Down there.
Sorry, so about 1300?
Yeah, about 1300.
Yep. And just out of interest, are you recording this on Strava? Can people go onto Strava and follow you and see you?
They can, yep. So it's on Strava. So yeah, it's just my name, Erchana Murray Bartlett. And I've also got I've had a fun time watching
just having a little bit of problems with the pod, with the connection. Sorry, you'll have to say that,
which has been great too.
Sorry, what was that? You just dropped out for a bit.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to check my internet. It says it's okay, but I do keep dropping out.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah, no, I have enjoyed watching it on Garmin, just the consistent 42.2 days. It's actually the most consistent I've ever been in my life, so that's fun.
So you're actually doing 42.2.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly 42.2. I stop at the second it hits that. and then even if sometimes I overcook it a little bit and I'm still 5 or 6 Ks from where I'm supposed to end up, I'll literally hitchhike or walk, or I'll jump on the support bike. Yeah, I'm not doing a step more.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But then when you start again the next day, do you go back to where you hit stop?
Yes and no. I've actually been doing a few almost like exhibition runs. So for example, I've been in Cairns the last 3 days, and Source Cairns partnered with Young Henry and the Wilderness Society to do a bit of a fundraiser for me, which is beyond humbling and very exciting. So I actually spent a couple of days just running in Cairns. So I was around. I did a park run there. I'll do the same thing when I hit Brisbane, the major cities where I've got fundraising events, or, for example, media obligations, where I've talking to the local news. But other than that, I just go south from where I am.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And so how are you finding it? How's the body holding up? How are you enjoying it? That sort of thing.
It's amazing. It's funny watching my mental space change as we get into it. There's a lot of wise people said, don't take a rest day in the first 2 weeks, but I'm not taking a rest day, but as in what they meant is the first 2 weeks will be really difficult. And they were. I remember I would go to bed and I would really fear it the next day, almost like, oh, I have to go through that again. And then I would start fearing it in the actual marathon itself. So from 30 kilometers to 42 became really strenuous. And that's faded. I don't fear it at all anymore. It's just and that 30K mark is almost the opposite now. I'm like, 10 to go. What's 10 kilometers? So there's definitely been a mental shift. It's definitely helped that the first 1,000 kilometers was just corrugated, dusty roads. And now I'm definitely seeing a bit more scenery. I mean, I went through the Daintree and the Bloomfield track, and it's a bit more interactive. It's up north. I would stand at, say, Bramwell Station, which is a big station up there. I could see dead straight without a curve my finish line 4 hours ahead.
Oh wow,
that's eerie.
That would be mentally hard, I reckon.
It was actually not good for your body in a sense. I found I was getting almost these weird overuse injuries in my calf and my tibia because you're not going up hills, you're not going down hills. Like you're a trail runner. Your body gets strong by moving around on the routes and the kind of the way the trail works. Out here it's just one direction, dead straight, no variation. So
you're not changing the muscle groups that you're using or anything like that. So do you add in at all like walk breaks or anything like that?
I didn't at the start, and then I learned that that's 100% necessary. So now I have a slower pace. My average pace is slowed down to around 6-minute K pace, but that's not the running pace hasn't really changed. I'm just adding in a kind of a 1K walk probably every 15 Ks I'll walk. And to be honest, some days I'll get to 41 and I'm cooked and I'll just walk the last 1,200 meters.
Yeah, look, I think you've earned that by then.
And I'm in a new phase now here from south of Cairns where I almost need to leave earlier. So I've been leaving at around 6:15 in the morning, which gets me home at around 10:30. But I've been fried the last 2 days. So I've made the decision today out there when I was getting cooked to start leaving at 5 a.m. So it's a new shift starting tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I can imagine. Yeah. And especially when you're having come from Melbourne where it's been cold and horrible.
Oh, yeah. How is it right now?
Well, cold and horrible. So nothing's changed.
Sorry, there's just an ambulance going past you at 1 second.
That's all right. That just adds to the realness of the podcast. Yeah. And so talk to me about food. Are you eating heaps or are you kind of sick of eating? What's happening for you that way?
Yeah. Yes and yes. I'm eating a lot and I'm eating and yes, I am getting a bit overwhelmed by the size of my meals. I'm eating such a carb heavy diet, big bowls of pasta that you can't even fit into your stomach, and then dessert, and then like it's a lot. I'm eating probably 5,000 calories a day. I would love to weigh myself, not for any other reason, but just to see if I've lost or maintained my weight, just so I can keep it going.
I think that it would be really interesting to know, because obviously the goal is not to lose any weight, but
Exactly.
Presumably you will, but if you're eating right, you shouldn't lose too much. So that would be interesting.
The goal was to not lose weight.
Yeah.
Oh, to be honest, the goal was I had a buffer, but I didn't want to really lose too much. I put on weight for this, just assuming that I would.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm eating quite healthy. I mean, I'm eating 3 healthy meals a day, but then I'm giving myself permission to eat whatever I want around that. So if there's a packet of shapes within arm's reach, it's gone in about 10 seconds flat. I'm eating things I would never. I had a can of Coke for the first time in 30 years the other day.
Oh, look, honestly, I say that about running. It's a healthy sport, but God, the crap we eat, and drink.
And you can get away with it, and you almost need it. I mean,
you do need it, but yes, it wouldn't be good to be consuming that all the time forever.
No. And even I remember I was, Sean Bell, I was talking, he mentioned, he's like, I tried to get all the healthy calories in at the start and just couldn't justify it. So then I'd have these, muffin smoothies. I haven't resorted to the muffin smoothie yet.
I think, and because he just needed to get calories in. And when it gets to that point, the highest calorie foods generally are not the healthiest.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm leaning on peanut butter. That's my saving
grace.
That's
healthy. Come on. That's the best food ever.
So good.
Yes.
A guilt-free 17 tablespoons of peanut butter a day.
Oh my God. Oh,
just straight in. But yeah, no, I'm definitely not thinking about food. In fact, I'd almost rather overeat than undereat. Yes. I haven't, touched wood, because I actually have a history of stomach issues. I haven't had any stomach grievances, and I think I know why. I think it's because I'm giving myself the time and space to eat. It's it's not, I'm not racing. I can stop and walk and eat whatever I choose to eat. I don't have to rip off the top of a gel and get it down in 10 at 340 pace. So it's very different.
So are you having any gels, or are you just eating real food when you're running?
Just real food. Yeah, I took gels for the start when I was doing, I think my first marathon I did on the first couple of days was 3 hours 40 something. I took gels then, and I was so tired in the afternoon. I'm like, what am I doing? So I'm learning as I go.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to do the whole thing on gels. That would just be, your stomach would be ruined.
And my teeth would be gone.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes. And so what about water and hydration and electrolytes and that sort of stuff? How much are you drinking, especially with the heat?
Yeah, that's another lesson I learned early, is because I don't usually need too much, is overtake it. So I probably carry, the support bike carries probably 5 liters, and on a cooler overcast day that'll get me through, but today it didn't. Today I had to stop and buy a big soda water as well. So yeah, I'd say
that's 5 liters for the marathon.
Yes, heaps.
Wow.
Two hydrolytes, so 2 600 ml hydrolytes. And I get a stitch the second I find myself becoming dehydrated, so my body's onto it.
Wow, that's amazing.
You feel a bit ill because you're thirsty, but your stomach's full.
Yeah.
But you're also craving it. It's a weird dynamic.
Yeah, that is. Wow, that's a lot of fluids. You must be sweating heaps.
I'm sweating so much. I every single run I'm going through 2 outfits, 2 singlets. Really? Yeah, 2 outfits. Yeah, 2 singlets. I could go through a second pair of shorts, because otherwise, you're out there for 4 hours, you feel gross. So if it's around, I'll just change it. And, we're trying to film as well. So if I'm on camera looking like, which I am, but just completely disgusting, sometimes for a nice shot, there's the filmmaker will be like, can we just put on a clean t-shirt?
And are you finding with the film, I don't know about you, I mean, maybe it's the cold Melbourne weather, but I get snotty and all that sort of stuff. Are you finding that's hard to sort of deal with the filming?
Yeah, the first, it was dust. It was just, there was dust in my eyes, and there was dust all over my face. And we have a trailer, a shower in the trailer, but you've got to conserve water as best as possible. So I'm having minimal showers. But no, it's very hot up here. It's 36. It was 36 degrees.
Oh my God, horrible.
Yeah. It's the opposite.
I'd rather cold and horrible like Melbourne.
That's why I'm now leaving at 5 a.m.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes,
Yeah. I should
absolutely.
have, in hindsight, left earlier, but I think I've been lucky because they've said it's been quite wet. I don't know, it's probably been wet where you are too, but
Yeah.
I haven't had a rainy day in 31 days.
Oh, wow, really?
Zero rain, so that's lucky.
Yeah, that's very lucky. Yeah. Oh, well, so there you go. So where did you say you are now?
We're in Innisfail, so it's 70 kilometers south of Cairns. We're heading to Mission Beach tomorrow, which is 47 kilometers south of here. So I'll just run to Mission Beach or just outside it. And then we're heading towards Townsville. We did plan on going inland, but we've had so many kind of fun commitments or local legends who have offered to come running that we've just sort of been drawn to the coast a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we will go inland probably after Townsville. And follow the national trail, which was the plan.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Are you feeling at all daunted by how much you still have left to go?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, so one of my good friends, when I made it to 1,000 kilometers a couple of days ago, goes, "Oh, congratulations, Erchana, you're 16% of the way there."
Oh no, that sounds terrible.
But every day is so different. We've had a new experience every day. I've got a new niggle every day, and something to deal with. So today it was mozzie bites because the campsite we got inundated. So all these mozzie bites under my feet that itched every time I. But
Oh
you know
no,
what?
that's the worst
Oh,
spots.
but if mozzie bites is what I'm having an issue with, it's generally a good day.
So sort of your knees are fine and everything's fine, your ITB and all that sort of stuff.
It is, yeah. It is. I had a calf injury. Well, I would call it a very tight calf. Maybe on day 15.
Yeah.
And that derailed my running technique because I wear Tarkines and there are zero heel drop.
Yeah.
And it was just very painful to run on my toes.
Yeah.
So I reverted with a calf injury to running on my heels for almost 5 days. And the pain disappeared in my calf. My calf is 100%. But because I was running a way I hadn't run in a long time, my tib ant got an overuse injury. So then I got this excruciating tib ant pain that hurt when I would heel strike.
Yeah.
So I've had to change through this whole process of twice changing my running technique to just calm these little overuse injuries.
But it's so good that you're able to do that, though. Like, it's fortunate that at least you can do that to get through.
Absolutely, absolutely. And having a little bit of knowledge, like I've got thankfully Dave McNeil, who's my remote physio, and he's talking to me, and I'm actually seeing physios as I come down to if it becomes unbearable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm using everything in my arsenal to keep myself from being injured because that, as you can imagine, a 40K run, and I'm not giving my body any chance to recover. It's day in, day out. So
yeah, that's right. And so that's what you've got to be really mindful of, don't you?
Yeah. Yep. It's just slow and steady and just constantly conservative. Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit of a mountain goat and I'm right next to, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, but is it Bartle Frere, the highest mountain in Queensland? Anyway,
I have no clue.
I'm on the base of it now. I'm like, oh, that would be a fun day. I'm like, and everyone in my support crew was like, we are not doing that 0%, zero, no, absolutely not. So,
well, you're obviously not overcooked on the running yet if you're still contemplating that sort of stuff. How are you
sleeping?
Yeah, how are you sleeping? Are you able to sleep?
Absolutely. I'm out like a light every single night. I'm not getting as much as I would have liked. I find by the time we cook and clean and get home and chill out, it's later than I'd like. So I'm probably only getting 7.5 hours, which might drop down to 7 once I get up a bit earlier. But I've started to also learn to nap in the middle of the day. Driving is generally my napping time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sleeping fine. For the time I do get to sleep, it's pretty good.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, it sounds like you're doing really well. So thank you for joining me for an update. Do you reckon we could do this again in about 2 or 3 weeks?
I'd love to. Yeah. So I'm heading towards Townsville and then from there, I'm not sure, obviously south, but whether I follow the coast or go inland, it's probably going to be inland. So let's do it again.
Excellent. All right. Well, good luck as you keep going and we'll chat soon.
Thanks so much as well.
Thanks. Hello and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast. I am sitting here today with Pam Muston.
Hello.
And Ron.
Hello.
So today we are going to be having a bit of a chat about basically longevity in running. So for myself, I have been running for, I can never remember, 15, 16 years or something like that. And, you know, pretty consistently. Pam, how long have you been running?
Oh, I think it was in the early 80s. Yes.
So early 80s. So can you do the math?
I should be able to do the math, but
We're old enough.
But I
I
think the good thing about running and not counting.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't like, because when you put a big number against it, you start thinking, oh my goodness.
I know.
Yeah.
Which is why I can never figure out how long I've been running. I know the age that I started, but then I just lose track of it after that because, you know, it just, I still kind of sometimes even still think of myself as a beginner because I still feel like I'm always learning or doing something new or finding something new to love about running. But basically, you've been running for a long time and obviously you didn't start in ultras. So, and what we want to talk about is how you've managed to stay in the sport for so long. Have you, we'll touch on it more, but have you had any significant injuries? No. And to run for that long with no significant injuries is nearly unheard of. And I'm sure people listening would love to find out how you have managed that, because nobody wants to be injured and everybody wants to keep running. But there is not a secret, but there is, well, it's not a secret because it's not secret, but there is skill involved in attaining what you've done.
And you do have to work at it. It doesn't just come to people.
Yes.
Not just the ability to run well, but just the ability to run itself takes work.
Yes.
So
when you first started, what was your goals with running?
To be fit for life, basically. As in, wanted to be able to do anything without having to worry about my level of fitness. So running was a good thing to do because you can do it anytime, any place. You need very little equipment.
Yeah.
And you can just take in, you can travel, you know, it's very portable.
Yes.
Whereas playing squash, playing basketball, you need a partner to play squash, you need a team to play basketball, and you need a court.
Yeah.
Whereas
That's it.
the running, you didn't need
anything really. And like you said, it's a good way to explore places too when you're traveling and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So you weren't necessarily looking at racing at the start.
No, I was just did it just purely for enjoyment. And I think that's why I've kept running, because it's always been for fun.
Yeah. So the basis has always been in enjoyment.
Yeah. I just love it. So and finding something that you really enjoy. I think it's great. Yeah.
And that's why you've probably stuck at it for so long, because if you didn't enjoy it, why would you bother?
That's right.
Yeah.
Especially it takes up time.
It does a lot of time. And so this was when you started, you didn't have kids yet, did you? No. And so how did you work in having kids with your running? Did you run while pregnant?
I didn't run while pregnant with the first two. Yeah. Because I had some, I just didn't run it. But with my third, with Jack, I ran up until a couple of weeks before I was born.
Wow. That's amazing. I
don't think he enjoyed it.
He kicked you, did he, while you were doing that?
Oh, he sort of, so he wasn't having great fun.
Well, he had to learn who was boss, didn't he? So then you had Jack, and then I believe not too long later you did your first marathon.
Yes, because I felt that I love running so much that once I started to get into racing, it would probably never stop, and I just sort of thought, and so I thought I was getting a lot of pleasure out of just running. And then once Jack was born, and thought, oh, definitely. And we moved out to Wombourne at the same time. And so then within 18 months or so, I did my first marathon.
So roughly, what sort of runs were you doing at that stage before you were pregnant, or while even while you were pregnant?
When I started running, I've always run for 1 or 2 hours every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so were
in
you
those
doing any
days, we
speed
didn't-
work or anything like
didn't
that
have
back then?
watches. Only speed work was to make sure I got back in time to go to work.
Then you realised you were late.
If you slept in a bit, then you
Yes.
needed to
Run a bit
run
faster.
a bit faster.
Yeah,
to get
fair,
home.
fair,
But
yeah.
back then, we just had an ordinary watch.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
So you had no idea of distance. Or,
And do you know what, that kind of, I reckon, is almost a better way to start, because you actually learn to understand your body
That's
better,
right.
and you learn to run better by feel in
Mm.
that way, rather than being guided by, oh my God, this pace, my heart rate, whatever.
Yeah. So when I first started and I was exploring at the Cowan Forest out here, I had no guide because there isn't really maps and
Yeah, of course.
of how far, and there's lots of hills.
Mm.
So I can remember a friend and I used to call each run a different distance.
Oh, just for fun.
Well, just
whatever.
what we thought it was
Yeah,
based
yeah.
on what pace we thought we were running.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And then when I got a real watch that had measured, all of our runs were accurate.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
wow.
Every one
Wow.
of them,
See, that is
which
awesome.
was pretty amazing.
So, yeah, but then how did you first decide what a kilometre was?
You first decide a kilometre sort of when you look at your watch and you think, oh, I think I'm running about this pace.
Mhm.
So you still never even had to actually measure a kilometre on anywhere. You just guessed it. Wow, that's awesome.
So you just
And this is, Ron and I have been talking a bit about it because I've been reading this book by Matt Fitzgerald, a new book, and it's about pacing. And he's saying that we've got to stop being so reliant on watches to help us learn how to pace.
Yeah.
And watches are great, but yes, I think when I started running, I was the same. I didn't have GPS or anything like that. And I reckon it's really helped me to be able to also guess how long runs are, and also to pace myself better.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. I love that you managed to get them right. That would have
I
been
know.
pretty cool.
I was actually really surprised because I didn't expect that.
No, that's
Because
awesome.
you guess what the run would be. Or,
Yeah, that's right. And so the first marathon that you did, you actually did really well for your first marathon.
well, I did. Wasn't as well as what I expected because back in those days, my comfortable running pace was 4:20s.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I had expected to be. Remember those days?
Yeah.
But I had hadn't run a marathon before, and in those days, you just put a flat Coke out it.
Yeah.
That's it. That was your nutrition.
Yeah.
And you drank at every drink station water,
Yeah.
and then you had your flat Coke. And I had lots of running friends that gave me really good advice, but that's what I just found. I just really did need a bit more nutrition on my run. So I can remember that feeling at 38 Ks and thinking, oh, the tank's a bit empty.
Yeah.
So I slowed down.
Oh, that's a horrible feeling.
It's a horrible feeling. But you don't tend to replay that feeling.
Yes. And that's the thing, that would have been a great learning experience then.
Well, just people there wasn't a lot around about.
No internet to look things up on.
No, but even eating lollies or eating anything, you just had a drink.
But the thing is, I still know people who do very much the same. And I have spoken to some friends, no, you actually need to eat in a marathon. And when I say eat, I don't mean a hot dog, but some calories.
Well, you've got calories going out.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Unless you've got an awful lot of reserve that you can.
Yeah. And the faster you go, the more carbohydrates you need. Those sugars is the more you need.
Yeah.
So at what stage did you get into ultras?
When I was 49, coming up to my 50th birthday, and I just felt, and Kerry Bremner had done the Coast to Cosy the year before, and I thought, oh, what an awesome thing to do. So that was, and then when I rang Paul up to get in, he said, how far have you run? Oh, I've run a marathon.
So Coast to Cosy was your first ultra?
No, I ended up having to do, Paul made me run 100K. So I ran the 100K on the Gold Coast in the June, and then I did Coast to Cosy in the December.
So your first ultra was 100K still? Because for myself, I went, well, my first marathon was an ultra 45K, but I went, 50K, 100K, 100 mile, then longer. Whereas you just went bang straight for it.
Well, it didn't. When I look back on it didn't really
any different, I guess.
And bypass the miler completely.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see any I didn't think I needed to, because I felt confident that I could walk it. I've always been a very strong walker.
You are a very strong walker.
So I just sort of felt, if I can't run it all, I'll walk it. And I actually became, I like my food, so it was easy to eat and drink.
Yeah.
So I guess that's
I have a little story about the walking. Like, I remember one time I came to Canberra for a race, and a day or two later we went for a run in the area, and you said, you've got to learn how to walk, and you were walking, and I was struggling to keep up with you.
Jogging.
Yeah, I was having to run to keep up with you, because you were, and I'm like, oh my God, I could not believe it. Like, you are an amazing walker. So yes, I can understand that. And so how did you go in your first Coast to Cozzy?
Oh, really well. And it was so much fun. Like, I was just addicted after.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed the first 100, the Gold Coast 100 too.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
But just the longer the better. It was just so much fun. Yeah.
And how many Coast to Cozzys have you done now?
7. This will be my 8th.
Yes, so Pam's in the next Coast to Cozzy. She's an icon of the race. How many times have you won it?
I won it once and came second a few times. And
How did you go the first time you did it?
I won.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And I broke the women's record at the time by 9 hours.
Wow, 9 hours.
Yeah,
holy moly.
But nowadays there's sort of people are breaking the record. It's great.
But somebody had to be the first to break the record to show, or to improve it by heaps, to show what women are capable of. And then other women have gone, because 9 hours is huge. I'm sure they're not breaking it by that much now.
No. No.
So
but it was fun.
Yeah.
It's such,
And did Michael, your husband, crew for you then?
No, Kerry Brimmer and another friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was just 2 of them.
Yeah.
And then I had my family, I had some walking friends that came in at Jindabyne. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
No one had ever done. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And so you do a lot of walking in your training?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, do you do specific sessions for that, or do you do it as part of your long run?
Oh no, I do. I do as part of my long run
on
the hills. And I never used to, but if I want to be competing in an ultra, I'll train for whatever is needed for that. So I'll walk, run the hills. And I go out, and I'll always try and fit in 2 sessions a week where I just walk.
Where you just walk. Okay.
And then I work on getting the pace quicker.
Yeah. So, and I think that's super important. I did that for a while at some point, and I was getting my walk really fast. And I feel like I've lost that ability again. So you're reminding me that it is important. And if you're listening, it is important to train your walking. Like, literally, like I said, Pam was walking so fast that I could not keep up with you. I certainly could not walk. I had to jog. Yeah.
Because it uses different muscles.
It uses different muscles, and you're not getting your heart rate up so high if you can walk efficiently, and you can eat easier during those times, and it just has so many benefits for ultras. And I think a lot of people feel, but I'm a runner, I can't walk. But in actual fact,
I can remember when I first transitioned to walking, because I never used to walk ever. But
and it does take a mind shift, doesn't it?
But I used to do a lot of walking as hobbies, like backpacking and hiking. Like, we'd go for day walks on the weekend.
So you're kind of used to it anyway.
I was used to that, and my husband's got, he's a foot taller than me, so I've always
to keep up with him.
To walk fast to keep up with him.
So that's good training. So do you use poles at all?
No, I don't like poles.
Oh,
but I've borrowed friends' poles in Coast to Cozzy just to cross those snowdrifts.
Yeah.
But I like to sort of feel like I'm under my own power.
Yep, and that's fair enough.
And I think it sort of helps with knee strength and just other things that you...
I mean, I love poles, but I also like to still do training with them to help develop the leg strength. So I mean, I understand what you're getting at. So
what other ultras have you done other than Coast to Cozzy?
Ultras. I've done a lot of ultras. Done a lot of different 100Ks, 100 miles.
What sort of places have you been to? Because one of the things I like about ultra running, or running in general, is that it takes us to different places. We get to see different parts of Australia, different parts of the world.
So I've done, in Australia, I've done the Glass House up and really enjoyed those. I like to do a road as well. So disappointed that Ned Kelly's not happening.
Oh,
anymore, 'cause
yes,
I did
yeah.
really enjoy.
Yeah.
But I understand, Justin and Shaz are having great
Time overseas.
great time on
Yeah.
holiday. And Human Hovel, I love that.
Yeah.
That's the country, like you
Mhm.
said, you can't get to a lot of those
Yeah.
places unless you're doing
Yeah.
your ultra.
Yeah.
Doing or any distance in
Yeah.
there.
Mm.
I've done Badwater.
Yes.
I've done
And how did you go at Badwater?
oh good. I really enjoyed
But
Badwater.
how did you do?
I did well. I was happy.
You won, didn't you?
No, I didn't win. I was in the top few, but yeah.
I
no,
always thought you
Badwater-
did. Maybe I
no.
just thought you were just so awesome that's what I assumed.
No. And I've done the overseas. I did a few years ago now. Round the Isle of Wight. I don't know if people have done that, but
yeah.
I'd recommend that as an ultra. It's on in May.
And how many kilometres is that?
106.
Oh, that
It's a
sounds
nice distance.
Yes.
Mm.
And it's a really pretty course. There's a little bit of footpath in it,
Yeah.
but most of it is on that coastal path that goes right around the edge of the island.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how did you find, like with Badwater, the temperature? How did you cope with that?
Well, that was a challenge, but I trained. Used to go to the sauna.
That's right. Yes, I remember we've talked
spent
about this, haven't
hours
we?
in
Yes.
the sauna.
Yeah. We
And-
have talked about this.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
The sauna, like you just work out what the
Yeah.
race, what's involved in the race, what you need to do to
Yeah.
try and maximize your
Yes.
chances of
And
completing.
so you've been running for I don't know, obviously, so early 80s, well, nearly 40 years then, right?
More than 40.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's early 20s, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure. So how have you managed to avoid injury, burnout, and all those other things and still be running? Like we're doing a 100K race tomorrow, you're doing Coast to Cozzy. How have you managed that?
I think it's just having a right head. So
And what do you mean by that?
I think you need to really enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah,
So I never think of training as a chore.
yeah,
And when I work out what I need, I believe I need to do to achieve whatever goal I've set for myself,
Yeah.
then the difference between now and when I was younger is I need to give a greater time. So when they did when I found out about the Sydney 100K national titles,
oh yeah.
I only had 7 weeks or something. and
Oh, so you're saying you need longer to
I
train for
need
things.
longer. So if I
Okay.
want to go from running a trail 100
Yeah,
to
yeah,
running a road 100, for example,
yeah,
because I don't normally run road hundreds,
yeah, yeah,
in order to get enough speed to be
yeah,
happy with what you're doing,
yeah,
it just takes a little bit longer as you get a bit older.
yeah.
Mhm.
And
That's
so do you do speed work?
I do tempos.
Yeah, I love
I don't like intervals
Yeah.
as much. I
Yeah.
did, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
And do you run every day?
one day a week I'll just be a walk day.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
but basically you're on your feet, but it's a walk day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's brilliant. But what it is testament to is also consistency, which is
Yes.
kind of what we were talking about before we started recording, is how important consistency is. Have you ever taken big blocks off running?
Well, I did take a block off when I was pregnant with Caitlin and
Yes,
when
of
I was
course.
pregnant with Claire.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But other than that, like, do you, like when you've done a big, say, like when you do Coast to Cozzy
Yeah.
and then you want to recover from that,
Yeah.
do you take some time off running?
I'll listen to my body
Yeah.
a couple of days.
Yeah.
When I just walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not.
But you're still
usually.
moving. You're not, sitting on
Yeah,
the
I like
couch.
active rest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big believer in active recovery.
Yeah.
After a huge race like that, I, for myself, would probably not run for a week. I would walk or
Mhm.
cycle.
Yeah.
I would want to do something though. But
Mm.
but yes, I think, and that's what I think is important, is that you do the race and you don't just go, well, that's it, I'm done, I'm going to have a month off. A month off is not a month off running. It's a month off structured training in my mind. So you can
Yeah.
just do whatever you want, whether it's walking, running or
Yeah.
whatever, but
Yeah.
just not having a focus per se if
Yeah.
you're having a break.
Yeah.
Is that how you would sort of see it
Yeah,
too, if
yeah.
you're having a break from
Yeah.
focus?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not, you can't sort of focus for 52 weeks.
No,
anyway.
that's right. And so some of the time you just need to kind of, run a bit more for,
and be a little bit more random.
yes, yeah,
So,
yeah.
something might pop up and you want to go and do that.
yes, yeah, yeah.
I used
And
to-
how often a year do you race?
I like to, well, apart from the pandemic, of course,
Yeah.
but generally I've tried to participate. I don't race, but participate in a race. I usually like to do something monthly.
Yeah. And that's the thing is you can't race monthly. And I know a lot of ultra runners want to, and they want to go hard, at all their races. But certainly, like with Ron and I, like we only did a race 2 weeks ago, and we're doing the 100K tomorrow. That we can do that because we're not racing; we're participating.
Yeah.
If we were racing hard, we would not be able to do that. It would not, it's not good for the body to race hard that frequently.
Yeah.
But and there's a lot still to be said for going into races purely for participation. What do you get out of racing when you're just doing it, not just, but doing it for participation as opposed to for race?
Well, participating is just so much fun. You get to see friends that you know.
Yeah.
Get to meet a whole lot of new people. You're often going somewhere different.
Yeah.
So
yes.
you're getting to run somewhere totally different to where you regularly run.
Yeah.
And it's nice just to have that change.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen my father since 2020. So I
Right,
went up to Airlie to see Dad and got to run the marathon, which I've been promising to do for a long time.
Yeah.
But it's just nice to do things like, And in a few weeks ago, I see my son in Perth. So now that he's in Perth, I'd like to do more runs over there.
And that's a beautiful spot to run.
Yeah, and there's so many
races. Not that I've ever been there, but
yeah. So it's nice just to incorporate. And when we travel, I've always
incorporated a race.
Yeah, try and find something, whatever it is, to fit in.
So when you did that Coast to Cosy and you won, were you doing it competitively, or was it a surprise to win?
I was a surprise to win. I'm sure that there's so many other really good. But that's the same with any of these races,
So you've never gone into a race going, I'm going to win this?
No. I go into a race to go and I work out what I think my training's got, what position, where I've got my training. Yeah. And then I go, I think that I can do this. Yeah. And that's for my own personal satisfaction. I sort of try and keep. Yeah.
And what do you do? Because you say you do it because you enjoy it, but surely you hit dark patches too?
In a race?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
If it's long enough.
If it's long enough, you're always going to go up and down.
So how do you deal with that?
You just take one step at a time and move on. So bad things happen all the time, but it's what you do with that.
Yeah.
So one of my Coast to Cosies, I think I vomited for 120 Ks.
Oh my God.
Every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So it wasn't much fun doing that, but it passes. Yeah. It passes, and all of a sudden you go, oh wow, feel better now.
120 Ks is a long time for to wait.
It's a test. It's a test. It's been the longest test.
Did you pass?
Yeah, I passed. But it's just things happen all the time. Yeah. It's not what happens, it's what you deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last time I did this, 2020, 100, I had been a Brooks Adrenaline girl, and I had Brooks Adrenaline for 20 years, and then they changed it in 2019. They changed something in the shoe and got horrible blisters, which I had never experienced before on the heels. And that was just something you had to move on, deal with it.
Suffer through.
Well, not so much suffer, just sort of try and black and
eye. Yeah.
You end up just start focusing on something different. Yeah. So I think everyone has something. There's very few races you do where it's absolutely perfect from start to finish.
I don't think I've had many races like that.
But you talk to all runners, and there'll be very few where they can say from the moment they woke up they just felt great, and it's just sort of all the ducks have lined up, and they had just the best day. But not everyone can have the best day.
No.
Do you think about, like, consciously think about if something goes wrong, this is what I'm going to think about to get through it, or do you have practices in mind to mentally get through those tough situations?
Yeah, I do. I'm a real planner.
Yeah.
So you always get a new thing to add to your what ifs.
Yeah.
But I have a long list of what ifs and what I will do.
Okay. Yeah.
So you actually plan the what ifs ahead of time?
Yeah, there's always
Mhm.
something new gets
Yeah.
thrown
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
So the what if list, by the time you get to my age, it's
Yeah.
quite long. So, but you get
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
sort of think, what's in the race, what this, you just go through. I can remember in my third glass house 100 miler, I took the wrong turn. Like
no.
it was in the
That's
dark.
easy to do at glasshouse though.
Yeah, it's very easy to do, but it was just must have been a lapse in concentration. And I can remember then thinking, realizing I'm on the wrong, and then I had to retrace my steps. So then I had to really think, now which way did I come? Don't move, stand still. Where did I come from? Don't panic, because I'd panicked once before. I got lost when I was hiking.
Yeah.
And so then I just turned around, came back until I knew where I was, and then just took
the correct way. Yeah.
the correct way. But it was just having to be calm.
Yes.
Because I was at the 130k mark,
Oh,
whatever,
so close to
and so
finish.
close. And but that was the problem, because you're retracing and you just relaxed a little bit in the head.
And also you're getting tired, no doubt. So yeah.
Mm.
And how do you deal with sleep deprivation?
Well, that's been interesting over the years, because I never really ever suffered from sleep demons
Okay.
Until recent times.
Oh.
And I reckon it's because I've retired.
Why? Why? Because you've retired?
Well, when I was at work, I've always had, working and just being really, really busy on your feet. And, and my job demanded sort of working odd hours and working really late and work through the night a lot.
Oh,
so
okay.
when you're concentrating on something.
Yeah.
So since I haven't had to do that,
you've kind of got out of practice.
I got out of practice. So I like when the Neverest wasn't on this year, but having been able to do races where you actually are up all night, is what it's the only way. So
it's the only way to train it.
So I just sort of create my own for training to run through the night, so that to get your body used to it.
Yeah, it is different.
It is different, and you're always going to get periods of being tired. It's just it's just practicing and working out what strategy will I use when I start to feel like this.
And do you use caffeine?
I tried, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah, I don't find it always works either.
No, so it's a bit of hit and miss. I have that instant coffee and Milo together.
Oh,
that sort of has
as a nice little shake, or like as a powder, or you'd have it in a drink.
As a drink.
I wasn't sure if you just pour it straight in.
Chew on it.
The Nescafe packet.
Well, it's just trying things first. Because I spent so long sort of in workplace where I had I think that's the only thing that I can see that's changed. Plus, when you've got little kids, you don't get much sleep.
No, that's right.
So you sort of just get a bit out of practice.
I mean, for myself, I've always struggled with it because I've just always been a sleepyhead. So, it's just hard at night, not in the morning. In the morning, I'm fine. But so that's why I always ask people that question, because I just want to know how other people deal with it, maybe to help me.
I've never had it. It was something that was really foreign to me until I happened the first time, and I went, oh my goodness, this must be what they're talking about.
They're not just faking it.
No, because I used to think, of course you do. It's not going to happen, but you're concentrating on something else. But no matter how much you concentrate,
there comes a point it doesn't matter.
It's interesting.
It is interesting. What nutrition do you take? Talking of coffee and Milo, what do you?
I like real food. So I have a range of real foods. We dry a lot of fruit. So from the orchard, and get bananas from the market and dry those. So I have a lot of dried fruits, which I tend to use instead of when I want something sweet. I bake.
So you made a delicious brownie for tomorrow, didn't you? We were just eating it before.
So I like my chocolate brownies. So they're nice as something sweet. I do like rice puddings. I used to always have sandwiches, but now getting into wraps.
Yes, I'm into wraps, but I remember you introduced me to sandwiches and putting them in the little Ziploc bags and cutting them into bite-sized pieces. And it makes it so much easier than trying to cram this sandwich.
Well, it's also for your head when you look at it.
Yeah.
It's like someone giving you a really big meal,
Yeah.
and you look at the size of it and you go, oh, I can't possibly eat that. But
Yeah.
if it was in smaller pieces,
Yes.
you'd be able to eat it better.
Yeah, and I also remember another thing you introduced me to, and I don't know if you use them in races, was macadamia nuts.
Yes. Yeah.
And because we would drive in the car, and I swear to God, I must have in one sitting eaten like 5 million calories. These are so yummy. I've never had these before.
They go down, especially the lightly salted.
Oh, they're so good.
They go down, and just having them in.
Yeah. And so many calories, which in a race is great. Not so great when you're just sitting in the car. But
avocados, they're my go-to.
Yeah.
I love avocados.
As in, you'll just have an avocado and you'll eat it.
Yes, I've been trying to work out, because I haven't got anyone coming. Like normally I have people coming to the aid stations. Yeah. But it's not worked out this year. So in a race, yes, so I have my avocados over there. And
you'll just have it and you'll scoop it out with a spoon?
Yeah, if I've got crew, then I get them to scoop it out and put it into a little Clip-Lock bag. And you reckon it would go too yucky if you put it in a drop bag, I suppose, the day before. It'll go too yucky. I've thought about all different scenarios. But coast to Cosy, I'd probably have, well, my husband wouldn't let me have, I had 14 pack the other year, and he would only let me eat 13 because he
14 avocados.
I know. He said no one should eat so much of anyone.
Oh my God.
So he drew the line at 13.
Well, he just realised that after my 13th, he realised that I'd eaten 13 avocados.
You must be like really fat adapted to be able to get energy from. Well, because it's it's fat. It's like it's not a carb.
No, but it's perfect because what it does, you supplement
obviously.
Yeah, but because you're racing for 30 to 35 hours, whatever, I don't know, whatever. So you need to keep topping up because eventually they'll get used. Yes. Oh, totally. I completely agree. Yeah. So if you start that from the start, then
true.
You're at this level, and then you obviously need other foods to give you. But I don't think it takes that long to get the benefit from avocado. Personally, no,
but 13, good Lord, you've got expensive taste. Macadamia nuts and avocados.
At some point, you may almost have had to mortgage the house to buy 13 avocados.
Well, where I grew up, avocados used to fall off the tree, and the dogs used to eat them because there's too many.
So, wow!
I grew up eating that.
Yeah, and maybe your stomach is maybe a bit more adapted, because I don't think I could physically eat. No, I think I'd be a bit unwell, so.
And bananas, the other thing I really like. So, as far as fruit goes, and don't like too much sweet if I can.
I'm the same. I'm not big on sweet.
It's sort of, I don't mind my brownie, but I don't, there's some things that you get that are just. So I have an almond date slice that I like to make too. That
sounds nice,
and that's really nice. It's sort of make it with ground almonds in it.
What I might do is I might get your brownie recipe, if that's okay, and I'll share it on my blog, and maybe an almond and date recipe. Could you send me those?
I can send you
and I'll share them, so people, if you're listening, you can look on my blog, and I will put those recipes there, because I'm sure you all want to have a try.
Those brownies were nice this afternoon.
Yeah, they were really yummy.
I think you just need to practice whatever it is you choose.
Yes, I agree. You've got to practice.
You can't just decide on the day, I'm going to need some food and this is what I'll eat. You've got, before you go out every day, having your breakfast before you go, even if you're going for a little while.
So you don't believe in this, sort of this fasted running, sort of going for long runs without any food?
I don't think I've got the body to do that. No, personally, but
I mean, I
road tested it, so I don't know.
I wouldn't be able, like, sometimes if I'm getting up super duper early to get a 20k run in, I might occasionally not eat, only because I'm, it's 4:30. But otherwise, I'll always
eat a banana.
I can't eat fruit. I'm fructose intolerant, which is a pain, because otherwise I could. Definitely if we're doing a run and we get up a bit later, then I'll always eat and eat a decent meal. So now, I remember last time we did the pod, you talked about how you would sometimes practice food before you did a hard 5K to train your stomach to deal with it under duress, to test it as well.
Still do.
You still do that?
So it's important, because
Because an easy run is different to running hard.
Yeah. And the longer you run, there comes a point where your stomach is going to be stressed.
Yeah, and will feel like it's a hard run.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that's when you need to test.
And so what have you found from doing that? What foods have you experimented with?
I experimented with lots of things in the early days, but I don't, I don't go back to things if they haven't never worked. But
yeah.
I thought that nice spicy rice sort of something would be something to for the palate.
Oh yeah. And
no. It's not nice. And the other thing is in temperature. So you need to test the temperature as well as the so where peanut butter I love on in sandwiches and wraps and crackers and all that, it can repeat and come back pretty nasty. Yeah, when it's a little bit warmer. So if you're running hard in warmth, then for me peanut butter doesn't work.
Yeah. And that's really interesting, but definitely something that people need to practice with is you've really got to practice the food because you don't want any surprises.
Yeah, that's right. And it's also if managing as much as you can. So if you're buying it, like if you're going to travel somewhere to do a race and you're not able to take your food and you have to go to a supermarket to buy it, then knowing what brands and what things you will be safe to buy.
Yeah. And have you also done it where you find out what's going to be on course and you practice that?
No, I don't, because the course stuff is not always reliable.
Yes, no, I agree. Yeah, I always prefer to be self-sufficient.
Yeah, so they might say they're going to have A, B, and C, and then for some reason the person who went and did the shopping for all the drink stations doesn't provide that. They changed it to something totally different. Yeah, so I'm not too keen on trusting. Yeah.
So what would you say your average kilometres a week are at the moment?
Usually somewhere between 120 and 160.
Holy moly, I feel like I'm super lazy.
That includes my
your walks.
My 10K walk.
Wow. And how long, when you're practicing your fast walking, how long will that fast walk take?
If it's the hills, then it can be an hour and a half. If it's a flat, it'll be less than that because I got my flat down to about, I think 8 something now.
Yeah, so when I was practicing on the flat, I got down to like 8.5 as well.
So,
but and so how often do you train? Twice a day?
No, I go out early in the morning because I have grandkids to look after.
Oh, of course.
Full-time job, so I'm up at 4.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm super.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it's big. It's like being at work again.
It is like I mean, sometimes like 2 or 3 mornings a week, the alarm goes off at 4:20, and oh my God, I just can't stand it. But you're doing it at 4, and it's colder here in Canberra.
Well, once it's dark, it's dark.
Yes, true.
Like, we went to Wagga for the marathon the other weekend from Saturday, and we had to get up 2:30 to drive.
Oh wow! Was there any point in going to bed?
No, because you're in your own bed, you get a few hours sleep, and then you start driving. But it's dark, so once you get up in the dark, you're up.
Wow, you are so inspiring, Pam. 120 to 160 k's a week. I need to up my game.
I don't know, just whatever.
No, but it's funny because I just find that really inspiring. And that, so on an average day, if you're including the walks and you don't train twice a day, so some days you get up just to walk.
Yeah.
That's
and so what? Usually.
Okay. And so how many Ks would you do like of an average morning run?
Well,
and you have oh no, you walk on that. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So it varies.
Yeah.
The minimum that I'll do would be 15, 16.
Wow.
And the maximum on some weekends, you do sort of the 40.
yeah.
35 to 50.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's sort of, we were laughing the other day going, isn't it weird that now we think of a short run as like, or a short long run as 30 to 35K, when that used to be the max long run, you know?
Yeah.
And now for me, my shortest run is 10Ks, but I remember when I first started running, my shortest run would be 8.
Yeah.
Or probably when I first started running 6, then it built up to 8. And now it's like 10, and it's like, but yours is 15. That is amazing. That is, and no injuries, and 40 odd years of running that is just phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm in
I
awe.
always listen to myself, listen to my
Yeah,
body.
so listening to your body. So, okay, your top tips are listening to your body,
Yeah.
consistency. What else? Any other top tips? Because we'll wrap up the pod here. So, any other top tips for listeners?
And making sure that you have the right mindset. So it has to be pleasant. It has to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
So if you can choose how you feel.
Yeah.
And so you just choose to be enjoying it.
Yeah. That's really great. Well, thank you so much, Pam, for coming on the podcast for the second time. And thank you for your really amazing and advice, because it is amazing, because it is proven that it works. So
but everyone's different.
Yes, everyone is different, but everyone's different. But if we listen to our body,
that's right,
then everyone can do that, and everyone can make a choice about how they want to view their running.
That's right. Yep.
And the consistency, not everybody can do that, I guess, but the consistency doesn't have to be at your level of kilometers.
No.
It can be a lot less, but it's still consistency.
It's being consistent.
Yeah. So those three things, everybody can do them, no matter what the difference is.
That's right.
So that's advice everyone can take. Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
No
and good luck for tomorrow, and good luck for Coast to Cozzy.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
It'll be fun.
It will be fun.
It's always fun.
That's right. That's why we do it. Bye.
Bye.